Legit. There we go. We're live.
We're live. Okay, well, if we're live, then hello, everybody. Welcome on this Friday evening. Tonight we are going to be doing work, and we're going to be doing work as people filter in. We are trying to solve problems with some of our layout. We've got a few. We're not out to print yet. We're still working on closing out the last graphic design questions. So we are going to be trying to get reminder text working in a way that we are happier with. At the moment, we have a couple styles of reminder text. We have a yellow call out to kind of pop it against other directions that we give you on cards. We also use bolded text to give instructions on cards as opposed to regular font text for kind of a long rules description. We use italicized text for flavor descriptions. We notice in playtests that sometimes people have trouble reading to the end of cards. This is the sort of thing where, as designers, we say, okay, it's not necessarily their fault. There's something, what we want to do is change the game until the game is nudging people to play it the way that they should a little bit more effectively. So we are trying to find ways to identify and show, get people reading those rules and actually effectuating the rules as they play the game. James will be here soon. Is he typing yet? He's not typing. He's not here. He'll be here soon. I have with me Tyler, Irene, Matthew. Oh, James has holiday crisis. Okay.
Don't we all sometimes?
Yeah, I have the people with eyeballs with me, which is good because I trust you guys. And what I have open is Tabletop Sim as a way to mock up cards and kind of play around with them. And I have Illustrator and InDesign and all of my favorite Adobe products open, and I'm juggling files to get them in a useful way. Because one of the things that's kind of funny is, we're actually all remote from each other. So we find ways to kind of get more presence. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too in our meetings. So sometimes for doing design stuff, looking at a spreadsheet is just fine, but sometimes it actually helps to have stuff kind of live and hands-on. Right now I have an older sheet that has a bunch of designs that we went through for reminder text. I'm going to import it into Tabletop Sim just to have it at hand. Now I know that I exported this guy. Textbox.png. Okay. Come on, buddy. Well, let's export that again. Irene, can you tell me one thing that I'm noticing on this older thing is we have a couple color designs. We've been cutting down on the number of colors on the cards, right? In terms of the graphic design. Can you talk about why that is?
Let me rearrange all my windows here. Can you point to where you are looking at right now?
I have not imported this yet. I'm getting this in. I'm going to import a big texture into Tabletop Sim.
Cool.
But when I'm looking at this older thing, it's got, hey, what if it was a blue box? What if it was?
Yeah. So we looked at, and you guys will see this when we import this, but we tried a lot of things, right? And a lot of the time, James loves to say, try something that you think is definitely wrong because it's important to get out of your mindset of just kind of doing what's expected or maybe what you've seen before to try and just get yourself thinking more creatively and innovating to find a solution for whatever problem you're trying to solve visually or design wise. And so I think we tried a lot of things. I didn't really think a lot of the color solutions were going to be good, but we wanted to just have them side by side to see. And So for some of these, right, there were a lot of reasons why different colors didn't work. Sometimes having something in a totally different color that isn't used elsewhere in the game, this is really good because people might notice, oh, hey, this is a new color. Maybe I should pay attention to this. Unfortunately, we've used a lot of colors to mean different things, right? And when you're doing graphic design, you have to think about like, okay, what are the tools you have to make meaning, right? You have shape, you have weight, you have color and value, right? How bright is it? How dark is it?
That's
We're
like
already
always
using color to denote a lot of things in this game, right? So we tried doing a background text box. Yes, Grumpy Coffee Beans, we're going to see some of the wrong options for sure. Brett is just wrestling with his technology right now, so I'm distracting you by talking. But you know, there were some where it's like, oh, let's try using blue. Oh, wait, no, blue is the might symbol icon, right? Or like green is what we use for tech. So like if something's not connected to that, then why would we use the same color? It can add meaning, but also if it's adding meaning that's extraneous, or if it's not adding meaning, but people think maybe it is, then that just becomes more confusing than clarifying. So we want to get away from doing that. I'm a big believer in removing elements, right? Like minimal design is pleasing for a reason. If there's fewer elements to keep track of, whether that's fewer different fonts or type weights or typefaces, fewer colors, fewer shapes, then your brain has less cognitive load that it's dealing with, right? You have less stuff that you're trying to figure out all at once. And on a card like this, there's a huge amount of stuff that the player has to parse, right? You have up in the corner your damage and the enemy health, and then you have the 2 hit requirements in the middle. You have the title of the card. You have the text in the tiny box, and there's like suit symbols in it, and you know there's a lot of rules and stuff. And also we have this little reminder text at the bottom. This is definitely a wrong option. I think this is absolutely wrong. And
Sorry,
we're not using it.
I'm doing importing right now. I'm probably messing up the stream, but
Are you? I don't know. Hopefully people can hear us. But if you can see in the background there's like the text on the card is in a box, and then the reminder text is outside the main box with a little icon and like colors, and it's just, I think it's a mess. But it was something that we wanted to try just to see, well, does it actually stand out more if we put it outside the container? So if you kind of
that one,
squint,
all of our others are
this card is a series of containers within containers, right?
Yeah. It makes that text float outside of it. I know that here, I'm gonna try a different way to import this. Browse local files. Come on, buddy. As a designer, the thing that tends to happen is first, I want to make every unique thing a different signifier to the player. Like rather than unify, it's a lot easier as a designer to go, well, this is different, so it should look different. And that, like, I know the process that I've had with UI designers tends to be, is this moving forward? Are these stepped up? Yeah, these are slightly, this isn't actually doing it right. I'm going to try the PDF. Is that we tend to add more and more options, like, well, this color represents this color represents this color represents this. And then there's kind of the design step of culling and like trying to condense options even when they do represent different stuff. I know I've worked on a few video games where the UI is too complex, and I feel bad about that. And like my explanation for that is that we were adding mechanics that we needed to represent in the UI, but we didn't have the time to go through and simplify and cut down, which is painful and hard. Like it actually really stinks to go, do they need to know this all the time? And that is actually failing. Interesting. And like okay, well, they don't have an indicator of their last chances mechanic. Oh, geez, did we ever? Well, we have to show that at this point. Should we show that all the time? Well, we have no choice but to show it all the time, because even things like in a video game sense, dynamically hiding things is extra logic you have to do. You have to make a decision that players are okay with not seeing stuff at a certain time, which is kind of a weird decision. What do you think I can upload? I can upload images on the tile.
The fact that we chose this card also, there's so many things on it that are wrong. Like the title is not in title case, and the sentence, a board guard, it's the wrong kind of board. It's BORED. Like, it just, my brain is broken. I'm going to fix that in my attempt here.
Scale.
Can you introduce what we're doing today, by the way? What we're going to be
I can do it again for people who are. I said it right away. So today, just to reiterate, we are trying to solve a design issue on our cards, and that design issue is how do we make sure that rules that people need to do that are like the most important part of a card gets done. It's a feature we call reminder. A lot of our cards have instructions on things that you need to do, but then we sometimes also have reminders which are like really real instructions. The game will not work unless you do this. So Talk Your Way In, which is it's an early concept for an early introduction of a concept that we have in deck 1, which is you get one shot at this obstacle. You have to try to talk your way in, else it will flip over and become guards. So this is a case where we're breaking our normal rules for obstacles. So obstacles are normally, and as we've taught you, you're like 4 obstacles in at this point. I need to play hands until this is done, until I die or until it dies. And this is a case where we're like, oh, this is different. You need to play this differently. And so it's really important that at least somebody, if we have 4 people at the table, maybe we're a little lucky. At least somebody reads the last sentence on this card and does it. If this obstacle is not cleared in one round, flip it. Otherwise, discard this obstacle when cleared. We also have a case where we sometimes call it a reminder of. It's like a rule reminder. We have rules cards that are designed so that people can kind of set them aside so that our rule book doesn't need to be as big as a game that can grow as much as ours has. Like we're really happy with the fact that our game can have rules printed on the cards that kind of like a video game dynamically come up as you need them in the game. But we want players to be able to set those aside, to be able to parse through them really quickly later, or even just kind of at a glance know what they're supposed to do. So we have like a reminder call out for that. In both cases, through playtesting, we have watched players not get this, and we go, okay, so the card is not functioning exactly the way it should. We need to fix this, making it louder. Unfortunately, there's a lot of loud stuff on our cards, and loud is not the solution to all of our problems. Which is what we are trying to solve today. So this, I think it actually grabbed, dude. Setting down a tile. I'm trying to like put pictures into Tabletop Sim so that we can have kind of a shared workspace. Okay, I have made it big, and I can zoom in, and I can. Cool. This kind of works. It's kind of like I'm using Miro. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at right now is a work document that we were sharing with a graphic designer and kind of talking over. And this started on the top left with a white callout box with red text. One of the things we found, I think, Irene, how do we feel about red text on white right now?
I mean, I think it's fairly legible, but I don't like the look of it. I think aesthetically it just doesn't look very cool. I also have a lot of gripes with the details of the frames themselves. So like the white frame, we kind of did some corner cuts to make it look more styled, but there's also like a lot of detailing in the card frame itself that is not as refined as it will be or should be. And I should note for folks watching, like we're also in the process of refining all of the card frames, right? So like a lot of the little kind of we call them techno gribbles, the little like decorative kind of lines and stuff and dots in the card frames, we're working on kind of a global refine pass of this kind of design element. So I think a lot of the stuff here doesn't look totally polished and finished, and so that's also distracting for me. Red
Yeah, I
text on
know.
white, I think it kind of hurts my eyes. Somebody in the chat said, yeah, it hurts my eyes. Um, Also, what we found with playtesting was that when we put things in a white box like that, it's like they disappear. It's so weird. When we did that with some prototype cards, nobody read them at all. We went from like some people reading them to nobody reading them. And I thought that was really interesting because I would not have predicted that. Playtesting so important.
Yeah,
I think the other
it totally is.
interesting thing is too, like when the shape is filled like that, that works for that card, but that may not work for all of our cards. So then that puts a design constraint on future iterations too.
It's definitely an issue. And that kind of comes up sometimes of like, uh, we can automate a decent amount of our card design, so it's like the box for putting text in is the same on every card, and that saves us a ton of time, and it makes the design more consistent. So when it's a call out of like it's a 3-line box, in order to support the game, we would have to make a decision like, is this always 3 lines tall? Is it sometimes 2 lines tall, and you need to find a way to get a different box in, which is, it's not impossible to do, but it's one of those decisions where if you make it dynamically sized, you're like, well, that's a more expensive option. It's gonna be painful if we do something like that. I still have a couple of those on my plate to kind of figure out how to get into our automated system. What was okay? So I do remember us saying like, let's not break the frame like these ones. We have a few. There's a couple here about red box with white text. How do you feel about that? I feel like why did we go past that one?
Is it an
Red box
accessibility
with white
issue?
text. I mean, it's really eye bleedy. It's really hard to look at.
Yeah, I think with
There's
small
already
text.
so much red on these cards that I just feel like it's not.
Yeah.
It's very unattractive. I think it's ugly.
Grumpy Coffee Beans, TTRPG had red on white boxes for flavor that were not rule important. That's a good point. Like, that might actually be, man, there are so game rule books are kind of the place where I feel like I see the most of the little call out boxes. And cards are, I'm not capable of on the spot coming up with a like typology distinction between between like rule books and cards, but there are some kind of shared elements of like line stuff up like that.
One factor that I think about a lot, regardless of what you're designing for, right? Like anything visual, one factor I think about is accessibility, right? So you want to look for color combinations that have a high enough contrast ratio for the greatest number of users to be able to read it. And I just looked this up. I didn't know this off the top of my head, but one best practice that I found was to aim for a contrast ratio of at least 4.5 to 1. And red on white generally doesn't meet that. So like black on white, great, highest possible contrast. But then like using darker colors on a lighter background or lighter colors on a darker background, obviously easier to read, and factors like font size and font weight and all of that go into how legible something is. But when you think about how not everyone has the same level of vision or like color vision ability, that is something that we want to mitigate for and design for. And we also just don't want to cause eye strain, and we don't want it to be painful to look at, right?
Yeah.
So there's tools that we can use for this. Like if you are doing something like this, you can Google, accessibility checker or color contrast checker. Another thing that I use sometimes when I'm designing or looking at artwork and I'm trying to get like a new view on it, is to look at like different types of color vision simulators, right? Like
Yeah,
color
yeah,
blindness checker or whatever, and you can like put your design or put your website or put your artwork through that and kind of simulate, well, how would this look like to a person with this or that type of color vision
yeah.
deficiency or whatever. And that can be really helpful when you're trying to look at your design with new eyes and see like, okay, is this really going to work?
Yeah. And especially with like value differences, I remember that lesson getting pounded in my head of like once you look at it under a deuteranopia thing, and you're like, okay, these may be red and blue, but when you put them at the same thing, is one brighter than the other, so that even if they're really close, you can they contrast in a brightness level. Did we have? So we do have white on red, but for titles only. I think. Did we find that when it was this small, this was the problem as well? Like we can't do white on red when it's really small font like that.
I don't know if we ever play tested that one. I think we all just said ugh and didn't use it.
Too bright, yeah.
Yeah, and like I also really love this little caution symbol. I don't know if we used it in a lot of prototypes, but it's so small. So small.
It is a tiny little caution symbol. Um, yeah, I think I remember doing playtesting with the caution symbol, and the conclusion was that when it is this small, it doesn't bring the eyes. You know, you're like, come on, buddy, you're not. And when it gets bigger, it just looks ugly. Uh, that was a problem. I was really into this having a like, although this one also has the broken frame, which I'm not as into. This the red outline, which is kind of minimalist. I think I was alone on it, and I think we decided that wasn't actually drawing eyes, to kind of just put a box.
Um, oh yeah, it disappears for me and
Yeah,
also fails the accessibility check, I think, pretty hard. Like I just think it's really hard to see. I am remain concerned actually about the amount of like red on black and black on red that we have in our cards because of that.
okay.
But when it's like a hairline, fine line thing like that, it's really compounded.
Um, do you have a good rule of thumb for how that's done?
For how what's done.
How like you were talking about the accessibility checker, like Adobe's accessibility checker for the red on black. Is that specifically a low contrast combination?
Oh, interesting. I mean, I think there's a lot of factors. I think there's contrast, and I think there's like the weight makes a big difference. Um, but I also am definitely not above going through like different tools online to just like play with it
Yeah,
and
yeah.
see, okay, how does this show up for this or that, you know, situation, type of vision.
Yellow, yellow and black. Grumpy Coffee Beans is suggesting that.
Grumpy Coffee
Let's.
Beans is correct. That's my favorite. That's my favorite one. I'm trying to figure out how to send you, Brett, what I just made here.
Okay. If
I'm
you can
gonna
give
do it
that
the
file to me, I can
jankiest
import it.
way
Did I get
because I
you
can't
the?
I can't get Illustrator to export it the way I
Oh no,
want, so I'm gonna
it's
screenshot
actually
my
it's that funny thing where when you're streaming, you have a quarter of your brain to do computer.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
yeah, my
yes, the
creature I do
process where
screen.
I.
But I'm sending you two versions now
Okay,
that I think are good,
let's do it.
and we'll see what the people say. I think yellow text on the black background with no box, no extra box, is the way to go for this because it's bright as hell. It introduces the yellow, but we do use the yellow a couple places as a sort of information, watch out. And
Okay.
then,
You got your card
we
in.
had a couple instances here where we turned the word obstacle red. It seemed like too much. So this is the simplest of the simple, just making it the text yellow. And then the
Oh,
second
okay,
one
yeah.
I sent you it brings back the caution logo, but it puts it in the corner. It's sort of like not the point.
Cool. Let's look at those. Sonic Adventure, we actually have a set of colors. When we want to use yellow, we know what yellow to use.
We do. It's not exactly the same. You're talking about the Cyberpunk video game yellow. It's not
Is that
exactly the same, but it is a similar like neon acid kind of greenish yellowish kind of color.
what to you is a what would you call our UI color language? It's definitely like we're trying to hit punk as part of our color language, right?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Like this whole
In
thing about
creative,
using this red
in
was
creative strategy land,
Mhm.
I would need to take several days, maybe several weeks to ideate on what to call it for you, and then do a PowerPoint presentation for you about it. Um, I think it's very bright, it's very high contrast, but there's definitely a retro element to it.
yeah.
I think retro future is a good term for a lot of
Man, what is
our
the
visual aesthetic.
well, and that's that whole thing. I think
Somebody's
we've
really
got a
excited
blog
about
post.
PowerPoint.
I think we've got a whole blog post about it, about like having chunky tech, like, and it's so interesting. What I would like about where Cyberpunk is now is the way that it's retro is almost more dystopian in that it carries both a feeling of, it's more it's a more appealing fantasy to have these chunky devices that are tactile, but
Hmm.
it also carries this. It's more pathetic that this world's future is kind of stuck with what the 80s is at. Like they haven't imagined a better future, and we're kind of torn between uh wasn't the future cooler in the 80s, and also uh, it's it I feel guilt when I'm like, it's cool that I like to look at this design aesthetic from almost 40 years ago and think that that's more appealing than a lot of stuff from today.
It is interesting, and I think we talked about this on a prior stream, but how a lot of the time the medium in which you're telling a story impacts the story. And
Yeah.
because this that we're making here is a game and it's a very visual medium, same with like movies, right? It's not fun to watch people be on their phones or on the computer.
Hmm.
It's more fun to watch people make phone calls or like run around and physically go places. And uh, yeah, I think retro tech is often more compelling just because it's physical, it's analog. You can look at a thing while someone's doing it.
Yeah.
Brett, how should I export these things as PDFs or
If you
PNGs?
PNG is a little bit easier.
Okay.
These are don't go more than 8K. Um, my feedback on the warning symbol, Irene, is uh, I don't see it, and I wonder if like this is tucked in because it kind of works because there's a
Yeah, because
visual
there's a
break
little
on it.
nubbin in the
You
frame.
know.
I don't think we need it. I wanted to just show two options, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we
Anthony
need
says
it
I
at
like
all.
borders, feel safer and contained. Black Muse says yellow looks better than the red boxes for sure, but I still lean towards the original.
Which one's the
Uh,
original? Can you show the
let's see.
original?
Here's where we are at right now.
This is a really tough card because we also have like three different types of text. We get the italics.
We do have the italics, which we don't always do on obstacles, but we sometimes do.
Well, the italics are like flavor,
Yep.
right? That's what the italics mean, that this is flavor, not mechanics.
Yeah, and we can all stitch that. Because the picture is saying 1,000 words, right? Looking at. I'm gonna grab another picture and save it, and then I'm gonna grab your stuff, Tyler.
All right, can you give me like permissions to upload things?
Yeah. No, I can't actually. You have to DM them to me.
You can't.
We tried that already. Yeah, no, Tabletop Sim wouldn't do that here. Side by side. Here's as much. Actually, can I do this? Sick. Like I can't zoom my TTS camera in anymore. Nor is he fighting.
Nice.
Okay, now I can actually frame them while I'm doing other stuff like. Here's that screenshot I just saved.
Yeah. Yellow bold and lose the caution symbol. Several people have voted that way, which is that's gratifying for me because that's my favorite. I kind of want to show people some of the other super wrong versions that we tried.
Yeah, we can do it.
I don't know if we zoomed in on the blue one.
I like the blue myself. I'm partial to the blue.
Even though it's muscle color, light color.
It doesn't.
Or close enough to might color that it could confuse people. See, that's what bothers me, is it's color without necessarily having the meaning that you would expect, which I think it makes it worse than not having meaning or not having a color.
Here's another example. We could mess with these cards as examples as well. So this was just us making notes to ourselves. For bike raiders, has a reminder at the bottom. Remember, pairs are numerical pairs, not matching symbols. This is the very first encounter. So the reason that text was added, and that text was only added fairly recently, within the last 4 or 5 months. That was a very much a playtest feedback piece of text. But we definitely need people to read them. And then the other one, this is why I wanted to grab a story card, because story cards or rules cards, I should say. Rules cards often have a lot of text. So stuff at the bottom can be both a good summation point, but also can be a good place for people to drop stuff, which is bad news. I think I have stuff from Tyler.
Yeah, I could not make it.
I got one from Irene.
8, sorry.
Where'd you send it to me?
I DM'd it to you.
Okay. Cool. I'm going to grab the blue one from Irene, put that in. It's very funny. If I make a card, I have to give it back, which I don't care about right now. But I'm gonna give it back. Okay, get bigger so we can look at it as a group.
I also really love that little warning icon. I think it's so cute and so nice looking, and so I kept finding myself just trying to figure out a way to stick it in there. But if I'm to be honest, we don't need it at all. It's just like I like it so much, and we made it, and I want to use it. But sometimes you have to throw things away, even if they're good, because they're not good for the use case that you're trying to use them for, and that's just life. I hope we have a place to use it, though, somewhere else. We might have a place to use it. It's going to sit in the gym until we can use it someplace.
Yeah, exactly. You can collect them and then spend them later to set up a traffic block. If there's how every other, maybe not every other, but a bunch of Bond movies he's stuck in a parade. That's how you get out of that encounter. Much easier.
What, by throwing caution symbols?
Yeah, you can set up your own traffic thing. Come on, I know you love it.
I don't really watch Bond movies. I mean, I watch Daniel Craig movies, so I have seen some. But
so I haven't seen.
I don't really care for James Bond. I think he's kind of a tool.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's reasonable. I think it's kind of interesting to pick apart how it can come across as. I think the sum total is it's generally received as less gross than the elements in it. but obviously they struggle with it. They keep on being like, how the heck can we continue to make a James Bond movie? I don't think I have the brain power to talk about that at the moment. Okay, so this one is from Matthew. This is just a yellow caution sign. Or what were you trying to go with, Matthew?
What I was trying to go with, something I've noticed in the playtest is every single time someone stops reading a card, it is either when the font changes or when there's a line break. I just
have to sit back and put my hands behind my head about that one.
Like that, I know it's just because but that's so specific. I was like, oh, maybe because all of these, how do I word this? The one that is the most troublesome, the one that is consistently not read the most, is Wreckage. And on that one, it goes from italic text, like, oh, flavor text, and then it goes to, remember, don't put this away. Don't do anything with this. Just put this aside. And then people always stop reading right there. And I've gotten two... the first one... Sorry, I'm kind of tired.
That's all good.
I've gotten only two. The first one was just that, like, oh, I don't really read reminder text. I play a lot of Magic. There's reminder text on every single card. They all say the same thing. So when I read reminder text, I don't read it. I just mentally skip it over. And the other one was just, oh, that bit, it didn't really seem relevant to read that out loud. I figured everyone else was going to read that. So I think
I just put that big board in one of the bags, but sorry.
Interpret that as a reminder, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to read this. They either don't ever read it, or they're, oh, I'm not going to read this. This is a reminder. So it's just like, okay. My thought is that we need to disguise the reminder. It needs to not look like a reminder.
Okay. Is there a way to do... and I can go into a tool that we have. Like, I can play around with the font formatting. I can show you guys how that works, but... Like, you can send me higher res versions, Tyler, if you want. These are definitely small.
They're at 1x because you said small, and I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna bother. Here, I can fix that for you. Was that PNG or did you yank it from the PDF?
It doesn't. I mean, a PDF would guarantee that the text is readable, so right. I can do PDFs.
It should be in that file I sent you also. The PDF.
Okay. Let's see. So I will get the 4 of those, and then I will go to another one.
Well, the nice thing is, I really don't care about reading the actual text. You can actually just see what was trying to happen.
No, I know what you mean. You're like, is this...
The squint test.
It's like, yeah, what is the fidelity level that is helpful for solving the problem? I love the Z fighting. Okay, so you've got 2 call-out words that are not the whole block, and then you've got 2 kind of semi-borders in kind of a new style.
Yeah.
Like a cleaner border system.
I was just thinking, like, what if we just did a simple line? I guess the other thing is, it's important that people, players read the text. But I also know, like, when you're introducing it to your friends or you're going through and you're so excited and you just want to, like, keep going, you get to a point where you're like, oh, wait, what did we miss here? And, like, is this enough to, like, draw attention to teach and then fade into the background once you're familiar with it? But, yeah. So I was just trying doing something a little bit different. Also, too, I think the text, particularly on this card, could be maybe edited down some more. Because I know we said obstacle, but I took obstacle out because we say obstacle on the card itself, and then I just left one reference to it in.
Yeah. Let me check what the most up-to-date version of that
I do not mind this. I do not mind this.
Which one? So I don't
have zoomed in now.
Oh, the just a couple words of it. being called
Yeah,
out?
just a really subtle couple words are yellow. Because one of the big issues, right, with players not reading it is that we were
Hmm.
highlighting an entire section, which made it very easy for them to just sort of like skim over it. Kind of like it reminds me of how people develop banner ad blindness, right? Like if there's some
Yeah.
big thing competing for your attention here on the website, you just know to just ignore that. And so my solution of making the whole chunk yellow does still risk that, right? Same as turning the background another color. And what you did, Tyler, this is yours. What you
Yeah.
did here is you made it so it's not so radically different from the rest of the text that like a player would continue reading. There's nothing to like signal to them this is different. It's sort of like an interesting strategy of making sure they read it.
It's kind of like a bullet point. Like what I'm reading, I'm
Yeah.
scanning the card, and like, what's the condition? What's the that what's the condition? So,
Right. It also reads, okay. Oh,
but
look, I have, oh no, this, oh, I do have this. Okay.
nice. Oh, cool.
That's how this works.
That's cool.
Okay. I learned something. Okay. This
That's
is
a
less useless than I thought.
so that's a PDF. Interesting. Well, because it's like the rule book, right? That's how TTS
Yeah.
handles a rule book.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah. So there's that.
Okay, so then we've got, and so one thing that's going on here is, so our normal text weight is like normal. This is using the bold text weight, and then I feel like what the yellow is doing in this is acting like a bold on top of bold.
Yeah. I didn't bother to mess with font size because I knew that
Oh,
was.
like would you propose like keeping it as not bolded for the normal
I
stuff?
think, based upon the feedback from the rest of the crew and playtesting, I think
Yeah.
reading the card all the way through is important. And and Matthew brought this up too. Just keeping part of the card, like you're reading the full thing all the way to the bottom, is important. So I wouldn't monkey with the point. Because I know, right, from all the other cards in the game that some of them are more verbose, some of them are shorter, and like trying to fit all that text on the
Yeah.
card. Um, like I don't, my my design solution is to not screw around with the
Sure.
font size if we don't have to, and try and figure out a solution that we could do like easily, and that would scale across the entire set. So
Let me grab a comparison here then. If we were to take oh shoot, this is the wrong bike raider. Here, let me get you a new bike raiders. Uh, it's funny to be doing this. I'm starting to regret doing this in TTS because
I know when you said Miro, I was like, oh wait, why didn't we do this in
I know
Miro?
Miro is so nice.
We should have totally done this in Miro. Okay, we have a good question here in the chat, though. Joris Boris says, "What do you think about
The
limits of
great.
how intuitive you can make things versus making it a cultural thing to teach the whole party to read?" I'm curious what you guys think about this. I have so much more fun playing this game when the whole party gets into it and takes their turn and reads and like, gives it a little role play flavor. That to me is it's just so much more entertaining and fun. And yeah, I think it's important.
The way that I think about stuff like that is that in design, from a game design perspective, I like to know which parts are a climb for people and which ones are not, and then I can make choices about that rather than just having it happen. Being upfront and going, okay, I think this is something that is interesting about the game that players are learning and engaging with, and this is something that I don't want to be challenging. Like one of the concepts that I use is cognitive load for design. So is when we're playtesting this, are we seeing this as something that people have to think about, and is that thinking about it does it match the target audience that I have, or does it match the different audiences that I have? Like, how does it affect their experience of it? And is it what I want people to be thinking about? A good example of that is like, the feeling of a big loot system in a video game, and how like we're at kind of a high point of RPG mechanics in kind of every genre, and so a lot of games have these big complex loot systems, and there's a lot of pushback of like, oh, I don't want to play another game with that, because in most cases those are secondary systems that kind of support other actions in the game, but they can take up a lot of cognitive load where players have to like learn how to read all the item descriptions and translate that into what it means in the game and what it will then do as a part of like, how is that going to affect my play style? And if that is not the main activity they want to do, like, but they know that their play session will involve more doing that than the core appeal of the game, that can push them out of the game, or cause them to not think as deeply about the main parts of the game. Honestly, that was a big step for me when I was training designers at a studio. One of the most common things that I would work on with like junior designers was where you should do less versus doing more to kind of put the focus. Because this was at a big studio making like Omni games, like a game that has every third-person character action game. It has every system in it. So when I got a design from a junior designer that's like, okay, here's my proposal for doing stealth. It's 80 pages long. It's going to be the best stealth experience ever. And it's like, great, but stealth is a tertiary support mechanic in our game. And so when you think about the ways that like these character action games have stealth systems integrated, they're deliberately simplified from what a focused stealth game has, because they're not the main part of the game. They're something that players need to be able to learn and dip into and out of while they're doing other parts of the game, so that it features that role. So in terms of walking all the way back to like, when is it good to have cards that players are like having to pay a lot of attention to read versus when is it bad? Well, I think our rule of thumb is it's bad when it causes people to have less fun because they're not playing the game correctly. And we reserve like, hey, you should read this card for stuff like story cards or stuff like the mechanics on complicated obstacles. Like the boss obstacles will have things that are like, this is really important to read. Cognitive load makes sense. I'm coming from the perspective where people in the party have different strengths and some of them can't read. That's true as well. Like one of the features of the game, and one of the things that I really like, is the way that we kind of pass the narrator around. Have you guys had? I don't think I've run into situations where people are like blocked from reading. Some people are definitely slower, but it's actually worked really. I've been really happy with doing games and like doing playtesting, running games at conventions and stores where it kind of brings the group together. If somebody's a weaker reader, they're still part of the team, and it like they'll be shy at first, but it really clears up like partway through the game. I'm really happy about that part personally.
Something I really like about the way that we pass the narrator around in this game is it prevents that one guy who always takes over the whole conversation during game night, prevents that person from just taking over everything.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you have people at your table who are like a little bit more reserved, a little quieter, but they still want to play, they still want to be involved. And sometimes it's like without a mechanic in the game that is giving them the floor at certain times, they like don't ever get heard. And it's not because anyone's like trying to step on them. Yeah, exactly. Someone in the chat says democratic storytelling. And I love that. That is an aspect of this that I think is very thoughtful that I wish more games incorporated.
I agree. I 100% agree with that. I love that part.
There's a lot of other things in this game too. I think that make it so that everyone is sort of involved as opposed to like one person dictating or taking over.
I like the way that we've been reacting to Tyler's bold some words in it. So I have a question. How would we do that for the bike raiders? because one of the weird things is that Bike Raider starts with the word reminder, and like I could bold reminder or I could yellow reminder.
Mm-hmm.
I can mock that
I
up.
would probably make reminder yellow, and if I
Mm-hmm.
had to choose another thing, I would make not matching suits, but I don't think it's necessary. I think just making reminder yellow is enough. And we've already started testing that in other cards. And I think it works great.
Yeah, if the
What did
focus is more on keywords, I think one in the chat actually said like just the keywords on the cards be yellow.
yeah.
Um,
Let me. I think I just got it. Here we go.
So could we get away with removing the word reminder and just making not matching suits yellow?
Let's do that. Let me give you not that first because I just did it and I'm not instant, but
I'm gonna read pairs are numerical pairs.
Numerical.
Numerical pairs.
numerical.
Numerical.
Well, it's been a long day for me too.
Yeah, Man 3. I love that too, that the game asks each player to read, because reading out loud also helps you practice reading and speaking out loud.
I think that.
I guess not everybody has a lot of opportunities in their day-to-day life to like tell a story out loud to an audience, right?
yeah.
Those of us who give a lot of presentations or like do a lot of video meetings or whatever, like we get a lot of practice just hearing ourselves talk, for better or worse.
So
Not everyone
I
gets
mean,
that.
seriously, working in an office has made it very hard for me to not write in bullet points.
That's
Like,
not a terrible thing.
I think it's fine, but I have optimized over the last decade. I have optimized my writing so much towards getting people who are half paying attention to do what I want them to do. Like, like here is how the information is. I am presenting it. So therefore, you can see that the conclusion is obvious. You're going to
That you
love
should
coming to this
do what
conclusion
I
that I just laid
say.
out for you.
Here is the action you must take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The executive summary is listen to Irene.
That's how I write
For
every memo.
details on why, see the appendix. What I really like is when you're playing games with somebody and you see like a whole new personality of theirs come out that you haven't seen before.
Okay, I need to get chat. I need to hide my chat window.
By God, I think we can get rid of the word reminder, you guys.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that would save a lot of real estate text
It
wise.
would. The question now I have is if we pull up every card where we say reminder, does it work? We might still need the word reminder sometimes.
Like
Let's bring up
the
a couple more
story card.
examples. So
Uh,
actually,
Yeah.
one thing that's funny here is that not is capitalized, which is another form of calling
Yeah.
attention.
I don't know if we need that.
Do you think I should
We've
do
added the yellow. I don't know if we need the not because we
normal
don't do that
English?
pretty much anywhere else in the game, do we?
this is like the second card that people encounter, right? So it's a tutorializing a little bit. Maybe it's not too like maybe it's the only instance that we have where we use not bolded that way.
Reminder could replace with the caution symbol.
So there was one more issue with the caution symbol that I ran into a few times when I was, monkeying around with this. We center justify our text in these boxes, and that makes starting a phrase with a symbol really weird because sometimes it makes the centering of the text look weird because the English starts a little bit further in, like it's indented, but you wouldn't have that in centered text. And then you are stuck making the symbol the same height as the line, but maybe you don't want it to be. Maybe that's too small or too big. So I tried that a number of ways. I don't think we're presenting any of them right now, but I did try that a number of ways and did decide it didn't work.
Here's the numerical pairs, not matching suits, not capitalized either. So I'm the one who raised the issue of like it's kind of like we're doing dueling bold styles right after it.
Right.
As I read this, and I try to put on a mindset of a person who's never read this card before. I have a cool follow-up 8-bit Oscar. But I do feel like it is making the point less clearly, even though I have one heuristic in my head that's like, hey, if you're saying underline this and highlight this, why you're fighting your own intentionality. But I do feel like not capitalizing it is a little bit less clear.
Yeah, I do like all caps.
I know.
Doubt it.
So the
Shout
funny
it
thing,
out.
8-bit Oscar, is that we do the way that we do our icons and stuff. We put them into our fonts so that we can type them and they'll like be typeset and all that stuff. It's just is what you were saying, Irene, that even if it's all typeset with the emoji with the icon being inline, your eye reads it as like the text starts later, so the text looks unbalanced.
Sometimes, yes, and I'm gonna send you a mock-up that shows this, and people can say what they think. I thought it didn't work. I think we all looked at it and decided it didn't work at some point, but let's put it to the group here and see what people think. I'm gonna DM it to you right now. This is an earlier version that has, like the box inside a box and the text floating outside the box, but you'll kind of see what I mean.
Do you guys remember Ranger 1313 is asking if we can flip reminder and body text? I don't remember why we did it that way, but I know there was a reason.
We usually have flavor text first.
I know.
It just comes up a few times, and we always have flavor text first.
So I'll keep going.
Oh, I was just say, to me, since this is very narrative driven, I think having the flavor text first keeps it kind of in universe.
Yes,
in that tone.
That's why. It's
Versus,
because of the
it's like magic, where it has the flavor text at the bottom.
I thank you. It's because of the way that it's supposed to present itself when it shows up at the table. So like the experience that we have liked better is the person draws the card and they say, bike raiders, they aren't here to talk. And then they read the rules. And now, I think with their health and damage being in the corner like that, that doesn't always happen that way. I don't think we give people a great guide on what order to read them. But I don't know if
the flavor first feels really natural to me because it's like you set the scene and then you're like, okay, here's what's happening. Now what do we do?
Mm-hmm. Let's grab another example. Okay, so Irene, this was an example of the symbol being integrated into the text, but making it look like
and how it looks weirdly indented to me.
Yeah. Especially since on the right it's lined up, but on the left it's not.
Yeah, and that'll happen.
Totally will.
Probably every time. Feels strange.
Let me grab another card and see if we can do the reminder. So we've got take the next 3 cards and lay them out in front of you. These represent a scene, Colonel Panic. Let's talk about that guy. Oh man. Okay, so the current version, this is a funny one. Mm-hmm. You know what's important about this card? Is saying do not flip them over.
Yeah. That should, that
right,
that
with all caps and asterisks, random asterisks.
There's more than that going on right now. Let me grab our current version of this card. I'll take a second. So this one's a little out of date because it's really important that you don't flip them over. Oh, it's yellow now.
Oh,
this is the most up-to-date version of this.
works.
Now,
Oh, yes, the symbols.
I do remember having a discussion about we've never done double asterisks before. Why are we doing that here?
Oh, I don't remember that session.
Do we have?
I think under no circumstances should we do double asterisks. It's very silly.
It is very silly.
Do we use MS Paint? Is that shade?
Yeah, totally.
Sounds like
I can.
shade.
So we have used. I can talk about the process. We could do a more process-focused discussion at a certain point. I think it'd be a little disruptive to the stream to switch over to my browser right now, but the basics of it is working on the design elements in Illustrator. So we have vector elements that are creating what the shape of the card should look like, putting them into InDesign to do multiple pages that are all sharing the same basic like layout, and then printing them from there. For a long time, we had a central repository of the text that we would move into InDesign to print all the cards. We've recently moved into people who are doing the exact same thing themselves. So the people who made Keyforge need to procedurally make like tons of cards, and they built up a tool that sends the design to InDesign through scripting and then gets it back. And so it's kind of a tool to manage it a little bit nicer than what we were doing. And excuse me. That's what we're using right now. So we're not directly entering the cards into InDesign. We're actually entering them into a web app that you then call InDesign. It's like, oh, sure, I'll render this card, and it sends you back a picture of it with all of the kind of setup that you've done of like, oh, make sure that you use this frame, make sure that you use this layout. So it's nothing. It's all done with Adobe InDesign using elements from Illustrator, but it's just architected in a way that's a little bit nicer. Let's try and here's my goal. I want to see if we can extend.
Misspelled in this card.
Kernel with a K?
Is that how you spell kernel? No, with two E's.
For a computer kernel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's spelled with two E's?
Wait, where's it? Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You mean like kernel?
I thought it was with an A, kernel.
I think even corn is two E's.
I don't know.
Actually, yeah. Well, maybe corn has an A.
Because
my spelling, I have pretty good spelling, but it's all intuition based. I can't examine it very well.
It's two E's.
Okay, so if we were to change these things, and if we were to get this reminder louder, then I would say we should go. You can always look at your clues. It should be the yellow reminder on this.
Right.
I'm gonna try that, and then what should we do for do not flip them over?
I mean,
probably also yellow, but I would get rid of the asterisks.
You want to try? Well, I know that we tried that. I'm gonna do that.
There was a reason that we had the asterisks in there.
I don't think our notes are good enough.
I think because of the amount of text on this card, we were like, this is super duper duper important.
Ooh, Ranger 1313. I like hint.
So.
Oh yeah, hint is
because what we just hit was we were just at. Well, I'm in the That's weird. Where we just were was. We can take out the word reminder if the yellow is doing it correctly. And I do agree with that. I like that. It's a lot cleaner. If we drop the reminder. Cleaner. Okay, here's a version where I have highlighted you can always look at your clues, and I have removed stop snapping. Get out of here.
This is a really interesting insight because I think the biggest insight I got from this conversation is actually that the reward reminder is often not necessary.
Yeah. I would highlight maybe if you don't know where to go and then leave the
Like the
rest.
whole sentence.
Yeah.
So the like why you would look at it rather than the action you take.
Yeah.
Let
Or
me go
even
back to the other one.
if you
I
don't
want to be
know.
consistent. Pairs
Yeah.
are numerical
Numerical
pairs. If this card is not cleared, discard. So these are like action based,
Mm-hmm.
kind of focusing on what you should do rather than why you should do it. And then the current highlight is why you should do it. Let me do the other way because I can do it fast enough. But I believe what I'm going to say is I think we should be consistent about why we are, like, what part of a phrase we're using it on.
Yeah, I agree. Come up with a rules structure. I could
I'm
also.
going to do two.
Okay.
This is interesting. It is funny how it does change when you look at it. But I'm also agreeing with Black Muse that, like, I think less is more in this case.
Yeah.
There's another thing where the magnifying glass is not changing color. That's because the color is defined like our other icon. So we would need to change it so that it can pick up font color, which I think I know how to do.
I could also see just the clue symbol and the word clues being yellow
That's what I was going to try next.
as enough of a tease to be like, hey, why is this
Mm-hmm.
highlighted?
Okay. Here's the beginning of it, and then I'm going to grab. I agree with you, Tyler, that reads a little bit nicer, but I don't like that it's kind of inconsistent with our other stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we the right.
So here's what I'm going to do. Look at your clues. Look at your clues. Even simpler. What's your take on Affinity? We use Affinity? Affinity is the Photoshop alternative, isn't it?
Affinity got bought by Canva.
Okay,
So
sure.
I don't know. I think people are nervous that Canva will turn that into subscription based eventually.
I
Or
know some
Adobe.
people that have switched over to Affinity. One thing that is really surprising in the last 5 years, a lot of way more than moving away from like Adobe for 2D images, people are moving to Blender in professional settings way more than I thought they would.
Yeah.
Over like Maya and 3ds Max.
Yeah, that to me is nuts because
Right.
when I went to school, it was 3ds Max, and then Maya came out, and that was the big industry shaker. So then everyone was scrambling to do that. But now I load up Blender, and it's just like much more friendlier.
Yeah.
Than the other
I
programs.
think Blender has a lot more conventions from like the way that game engines do 3D controls, which kind of helps.
Yeah. All right, so this is interesting, right? So you got 1, 2, and 3. I think simpler is better. I do like look at your clues.
I agree.
Because if I'm reading that card, I cover everything up. Do not flip them over. Look at your clues. It reminds me of the Jackbox games when it would do that little interstitial. Remember the clues.
Man,
The group decide on a
Pete
part of the
Dimhis,
scene.
man. If we put this on the card, I would be reminded of like Man, you guys remember the I don't know if they ever changed it. The GameStop art when they didn't have art and they would print out their own logo for like generic game. It's just this hideous looking picture. So bad. I mean, see, this is an area where in Miro I would do this, but I'm gonna do something really stupid, which is make a tile, make an in-game asset, so that I can reference a picture in my head. Because that makes sense, right? Yeah, that's right. Yep. Man. We could have one of these guys pop up as like a guy. Okay, I feel we've done 2 examples.
Yeah.
We've decided that we are going to use the GameStop characters as like clippies on our cards. Is that right?
That's an Irene question.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm hearing. I have no issues with that from the art direction side. It's great.
Okay,
Ship
cool. Okay, cool. Here's where I'm at. I'm going to do more, try and find more cards that we can mock up with the call out minimal amounts of yellow words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then put them in the deck and play test.
Cool.
That's where I'm at. I feel good. I feel pretty good about this. Like
all
these things.
I really like less is more.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's why I believe stop signs should be about a 1/4 inch wide.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have text because everyone knows what that red means, right?
Yeah. It is funny like how important it is that you can see that it's a stop sign from the backside so that you know that the other intersection is stop. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised that they aren't colored in some way on the back or otherwise indicated, but the shape is incredibly important. Because it really matters what the other person is doing. TTS version will have to have an obnoxious AI-powered Clippy advising players. That's what I'm working on right now, actually.
Yeah, working night and day on that important stuff.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna track down. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna track down our conversation about the asterisks and recreate it. Although we can't run circles around this. I know we talked about it and we kept them in because I thought we could get rid of them and we didn't. Let me figure that one out. But I'm gonna do more of these yellow cards, put them in the deck, and we're gonna play test with them. Sound good?
That's great.
It's a plan. Right.
I hereby adjourn this meeting of the Night Crew Twitch stream.
Hey, Twitch chat, thank you so much for chiming in and just listening to us ramble, and you were all extremely helpful, so thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm super... it's so nice to be working on a game where we can talk to our community about the game that we're making.
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
Cool. All right. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. See you all.